Have you ever felt it, that sense of something ancient, something really powerful in the world around you? Maybe you've seen it in the way a wave crashes, or felt it in the warmth of a fire. For some people, that feeling is way more than just a passing moment. It's a real connection, a welcome. That's a quote from the author Jane Meredith, and it really gets to the heart of a pretty profound idea, that these ancient goddess archetypes, they aren't just old stories collecting dust. They're a living presence, a force that people can actually connect with to better understand their own lives. So, where does a journey like this even begin? Well, for a lot of people, it doesn't start in some ancient text. It starts with a really personal search for meaning and connection, right here in the present. I mean, it's a huge human question, isn't it? We look at our own lives, our families, our history, and we try to find that thread, that thing that ties it all together. We just want to know where our personal story fits in the grand scheme of things. For the author, this whole search really kicked off after she lost her mother. She talks about a childhood where she was always longing for this connection that felt like it was just out of her grasp. And it was only after her mother was gone that she started to see her differently. Not just as one person, but as part of this long, unbroken line of women, this ribbon of lives stretching back through time. Okay, so if you're looking for your place in that larger story, where do you find the map? Well, the source material for this whole explainer offers a pretty fascinating answer. You find it in myth. And this is really the core idea here. The suggestion that these tales about goddesses like Persephone or Inanna or Freyja are way more than just entertainment. They're actually detailed guides to the terrain of the human soul. They're maps for navigating love and loss and transformation. So how do you actually use these maps? The book talks about a practice called aspecting. It's basically a way of intentionally connecting with the energy of these mythic figures, not as some distant gods you worship, but as powerful lenses you can look through to better understand your own life and your own patterns. And look, this isn't just some abstract concept. It's a practice with real, tangible steps. You can start by just researching a myth, stripping it back to the raw actions. Or you can walk with the goddess, just holding her in your mind as you go about your day. You could even journey to a place connected to her, or try enacting scenes from her story to feel its power firsthand. Now, let's put this map to the test. Let's see how it can guide us through one of the most difficult landscapes any of us will ever face, the underworld of grief. Wow. I mean, you can just feel that, can't you? That feeling of being totally lost in a snowstorm of grief. You're disoriented, you can't see the path forward. How do you possibly keep going when you feel that stuck? For this, the book turns to the ancient Sumerian goddess Inanna. She's the queen of heaven, and she makes this choice to descend into the underworld to face her sister, Ereshkigal, the queen of the dead. And her story becomes this incredible step-by-step guide for what it really means to confront loss. This slide lays it out so clearly. To enter the underworld, Inanna has to pass through 7 gates. And at every single gate, a piece of her power and her identity is stripped away. Her crown, her jewels, her robe. It's such a powerful metaphor for grief, right? That process where we're forced to let go of the things that used to define us until we're just left raw and vulnerable. And the destination of this journey is intense. The author describes seeing this portrayal of Ereshkigal not as some quiet, grim figure, but as this force of raw, creative power. And this is a huge point. The underworld isn't just about things ending. It's about a painful, messy, but powerful process of surrender that actually makes way for something new to be born. So after a descent like that, after being stripped bare and facing the raw power of loss, what comes next? How do you come back? How do you start to put the pieces back together? This is where the myth of another goddess, Freyja, comes into the picture. And this quote gets at the idea of re-stringing a broken necklace. It's not about pretending the break never happened. It's about consciously taking the old pieces and creating something totally new, finding a different kind of beauty in the act of mending. And that's the whole point, really. The goal isn't to go back to the way things were before. The act of unmaking and remaking allows for a new kind of beauty, one that actually acknowledges the breaks and weaves them into the new design. Here we see this beautiful, tangible example. The author took her late mother's loud, bright beads and restrung them. But this time, she spaced them out with her own shards of shining darkness. The result? A whole new necklace where both parts can coexist, where her mother's brightness gets to shine without totally overwhelming her own identity. And from all of those broken pieces, you get a single new story. It's a story that doesn't try to erase the past or the pain, but instead integrates them. It makes that mother-daughter ribbon something you can actually wear, a part of your own identity, on your own terms. Okay, let's bring all this home. We've talked about a personal search, we've explored this method for working with myths, and we've seen how it can be a map through grief and toward recreation. So what does this all mean for us, right here, right now? At the end of the day, this is the biggest takeaway. These stories have stuck around for thousands of years, not because they're cute folktales, but because they describe these fundamental patterns of human experience. They are, quite literally, maps of our own inner worlds. Think about it. The pattern of the mother who loses her child, the daughter who has to descend into her own life, the queen who has to be stripped of her power to be reborn. These archetypes are playing out all the time. As the book says, daughters become mothers and mothers are always daughters. These roles and patterns just keep repeating through our lives and across generations. And this, right here, is the really empowering part. We are all living out pieces of these ancient myths. We all have our own descents and our own returns. The key is recognizing that while the pattern might be ancient, the pieces are ours to work with. We get to decide how the story unfolds in our own lives. Whether you see it that way or not, your journey has all the weight, the drama, and the power of a myth. You are the hero of your own epic. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you look at the patterns, the descents, the remaking in your own experience, what ancient story are you living, and what new kind of beauty are you creating from all its pieces?